Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting for the Board of Public Works for Friday, April 1st, 2022.
Good morning, everyone. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer, establishing roll call and quorum for today. We have President Garcia, Vice President Villegas, President Pro Tem Davis, and Commissioner Corzan. President Garcia, you do have a quorum at this time. Currently, we do not have any callers on the line under general public comment. We also have no commentary on any of the items for today's agenda. We also did not receive any we also did not receive any emails or comments on our online public comment portal as well for today's agenda.
Great. So we'll officially close public comment. Thank you. Colleagues, takes us now to the first item of business for today, which is the approval of the minutes for Friday, March 18, 2022. Is there a second to my motion to move this item forward?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Dr. Campos, there's a first by me and a second by Dr. Davis to move Friday, March 18 minutes forward.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and start the voting tabulation, and we'll start with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
And Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Madam President, can we consider this item to go forthwith?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. This moves us along to item number 1. This is for the Bureau of Engineering in Council District 1. This is a task order solicitation number 48 to Tetra Tech, Inc., a pre-qualified on-call consultant list for the Taylor Yard Paseo del Rio project and Proposition O water quality improvement project, recommending the board to 1, authorize the city engineer to issue the task to Tetra Tech, Inc. from the pre-qualified on-call wastewater and environmental engineering service consultants list to provide pre-design, design, environmental review, and documentation, bid and award support, and design services during construction for the Taylor Yard Paseo del Rio and the Proposition O water quality improvement projects as stated in task TOS number 48 with a budget authority of $4,252,106, including contingency. And we have Mr. Haynes and Mr. Powell here from the Bureau of Engineering today. Good morning.
Morning.
All right, we're ready when you're ready.
Okay, so I'll just jump right into it. Good morning, President Garcia, members of the board and Bureau representatives. My name is Brian Powell. I'm a senior civil engineer with the Clean Water Division of the Bureau of Engineering. I'll just jump right into the background. So the combined project is proposed for the Los Angeles River adjacent Taylor Yard G2 parcel, which is in the Cypress Park neighborhood of Council District 1. The Paseo del Rio project proposes to design and construct half a mile of greenway along the edge of the LA River, which equates to approximately 6 acres, and will consist of a trail, restored native habitat, water quality improvement features, green space, a kayak launch and landing, gathering spaces or outdoor classrooms, parking, access points, restrooms, gates, lighting, and interpretive signage. The Proposition O portion of the project proposes to design and construct a 3.5-acre bioretention basin as a stormwater best management practice system to collect and treat dry and wet weather flows from the surrounding storm drains as well as on-site runoff before discharging into the LA River. The project also includes trails, restoration of native habitat, lighting, and interpretive signage. Combined, these two projects will provide a network of trails, improvements, and restored habitat for the early activation of the G2 parcel. I would also like to note that the city executed a letter of intent to establish the 100-acre partnership, which consists of the city, the California Department of Parks and Recreation, or State Parks, and the Mountains Recreation and Conservation Authority, or MRCA. The city owns the 42-acre G2 parcel. State Parks owns the 18-acre boat type parcel to the north, as well as the 40-acre Rio de Los Angeles State Park to our east for a combined 100 acres. And the MRCA is a stakeholder here because they own a 12.5-acre easement on G2. The long-term goal of the partnership, of course, is to develop a full 100-acre park at Taylor Yard, but a direct result of the early coordination is the Paseo del Rio and Propo water quality projects. Also, State Parks is currently working on a sister project that would extend the Paseo del Rio Greenway for an additional half mile into G1 for a total 1 mile greenway across G1 and G2. To just quickly cover the funding, the Proposition O portion of the project is funded by $2,004,776 in Proposition O funds. The Paseo del Rio portion of the project is funded by a number of funds, a 2020 Wildlife Conservation Board Prop 68 grant in the amount of $250,000, a 2019 Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy Prop 1 grant in the amount of $770,000, a 2020 Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy Prop 1 grant in the amount of $240,000, and also city funds from the CIEP, the Capital Improvements Expenditure Program, in $987,330. So in total, Proposition O portion of the project is $2,004,776. The Paseo del Rio portion of the project is $2,247,330 for a total contract amount, including contingency, of $4,252,106. To cover the business inclusion program, the city's anticipated participation levels for this TOS are 18% for the minority business enterprise, 4% for women's business enterprise, 25% for small business enterprise, 8% for emerging business enterprise, and 3% for disabled veterans enterprise. And Tetra Tech is pledging 11.2% for minority businesses, 20% for women-owned businesses, 37.6% for small-owned businesses, 29.5% for emerging businesses, and 2.7% for disabled veteran businesses. So to conclude, we recommend that the board authorize the city engineer to issue task order solicitation number 48 to Tetra Tech to provide pre-design, design, environmental review and documentation, bid and award, and design services during construction for the combined Taylor Paseo del Rio and Proposition O water quality improvements project with a total budget authority of $4,252,106, and that includes contingency. That concludes my report, and I'd be happy to take any questions.
Great, thank you, Mr. Powell. Very thorough report, by the way. Colleagues, any questions?
Yes.
Sure, Dr. Davis.
Yeah, I wanted to understand what we're asking here is for the permission to have the collaborative between the various organizations for the purpose of being able to implement the project. Is that kind of generally what we're doing here? What are you asking us to do?
Well, precisely, we're requesting authorization to issue task order solicitation number 48, which is to Tetra Tech, which will be our design consultant, for pre-design, design, environmental review, bid and award, and design services during construction. So basically, we're hiring Tetra Tech to help us design and build the project.
Gotcha. Now, when you talked about the description of the project, you mentioned the various areas of funding for the project, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And they come from multiple places, the funding does. And that is for Tetra Tech to be able to implement this project, those levels of funding, correct?
Correct. This is all funding that was secured by the city and the project management team. You might be familiar with Proposition O.
Yes, sir.
Funds all of the Proposition O projects. And then the Paseo del Rio project kind of originated from the LA River project team within the city. So we secured a number of grants, as well as securing funding straight from the city, from the CIEP. We identified these originated as two separate projects, but being that they are both on the G2 parcel and the timing did also work out, we found it appropriate to combine both projects into one so that we can design and build one connected, cohesive project at G2. So there are a number of funding sources, but the Proposition O funds will pay for the Proposition O portion of the project, and the LA River funds, or the grants that I identified, will pay for the Paseo del Rio portion of the project.
You mentioned in your report the construction and the implementation of a park and that kind of thing as well, right?
Correct.
And what is the timeline of the unfolding of that project, and how does it relate to, in terms of time, the request being made today?
So the total duration, pending the approval today, hopefully, we anticipate issuing notice to proceed to Tetra Tech next week. So we'll essentially begin design in April of 2022. and we hope to see the construction completed by March of 2027. So
I
it's
see.
about a 5-year timeline from the beginning of design to the completion of construction.
Great. Well, thank you for the report. I think one of the great things about the effort is the collaboration between the two entities that were doing similar work. Oftentimes, when we're doing this kind of construction in collaborating, we can be able to maximize the resources and be efficient in terms of the utilization of the resources that we have available. And also in terms of the pledges that we have, I guess it came from Tetra Tech, the effort to involve small and emerging businesses in the work is also important for us here on the Board of Public Works. So thank you so much for your report.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Davis. Commissioner Corson.
Thank you. Thank you for this presentation. It was, I find the report very thorough. You just sparked a question, and I have another question as well. The funding for that we're approving today, is that just for the design, or is it also for the construction and completion?
Good question. So this is just for the task order solicitation, which includes pre-design, design, bid and award, environmental review, and design support during construction. So it does not include the construction contract, but it does include some work for Tetra Tech to support the project during construction. So typically we'll issue a task order solicitation to our engineering consultants to complete design. Once the design is completed, then we'll have a set of construction drawings and specifications that we'll be able to then again come back to the board to advertise, bid, and award. So that will happen at a later date, probably a couple of years from now.
Okay, so the funding for now, majority of it is for 2 years, not 5 years.
Well, it is most likely for 5 years. The design portion of the task order solicitation will take about 2 years. The environmental review and documentation portion of that will parallel design and could linger on into the permitting phases. And then, of course, we're also keeping Tetra Tech around to help us through the bid and award and construction phases. So those will be, years 3, 4, and 5, let's just say, of the total project duration.
Thank you. And then my last question is on the sub-consultants that are asking for 2 additional people who were not, I guess, in the original contract, part of the contract, and the gender ethnicity is blank on them. I'm more curious about Hargreaves Jones. Just in the future, if Prime adds someone, considering that they would be the largest sub, if there could be some details on a little bit background on them, if they've done work with BOE or the city before, what that was like. It'd be kind of helpful just to have a little bit of background on who they're adding. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Commissioner Corson. Any other questions? Hearing none. I have just a quick question, Mr. Powell. How was Tetra Tech identified? I understand that it's coming from the pre-qualified on-call list, but was it like a random pick? Was it they were the next one in line, or did you just put it off a bid?
Good question. We advertised the TOS to the entire list of from the wastewater and on-call list, which I believe is up to 24 consultants.
Right.
We received 3 proposals, one from Tetra Tech, one from Jacobs, and one from ARO. We interviewed all 3. We assessed the proposal. We scored them based on the proposal and the interview, and Tetra Tech came out on top in this case.
Okay, good. And when it's time for construction, will you come back to bid that, or will Tetra? How would that happen? Who's gonna identify the?
So this task will give us the authority to continue to work with Tetra Tech through construction, because during construction we do like to have the engineer of record available to help us work through issues.
Right.
In terms of the construction contract, when we're done with design, we will be back. We will be coming back to the board to advertise the project and to award it.
Okay, got it. And that probably be like what, in 2 years, in a year from now? What do you?
Probably 2 to 3 years. It will take us, 2 years or so to complete design, and then the bid award process usually takes about 5 to 6 months or so.
Okay, thank you. That seems pretty thorough. Any questions? I don't see any more questions. Is there a motion on the table to move this item forward?
So move.
Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. Second. Dr. Campos, there's a first by Vice President Villegas and a second by Dr. Davis to move this item forward forthwith.
Absolutely. We'll go ahead and start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, President Garcia,
Aye.
Vice President Villegas,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis,
Aye.
and Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Powell and Mr. Haynes. Have a good weekend.
Awesome. Thank you.
You too. Bye-bye. Great, colleagues. We've made it now to item number 2 on today's agenda. This is an item in Council District 5. This is a revised task order solicitation number 98-009 and budget increase. Converse Consultants, groundwater monitoring, remediation, and related services, Western District Refuse Yard. Recommending the board authorize the city engineer to issue a revision of the TOS number 98-009 to Converse Consultants, increasing the budget authority from $337,075 to $622,075, including contingency, for continued groundwater monitoring, enhanced groundwater remediation, and related services for the Western District Refuse Yard. And we have Mr. Mohern. Oh my God, am I saying it right?
Mohern.
Mohern.
That's right. Close
All right, Mr. Okay, how are you? Good morning. Good
Fine.
to see you. Good.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm with the Geotechnical Engineering Division of the Bureau of Engineering. This site, you've seen a few more times in the past because we've been doing long-term monitoring and some limited remediation, mostly in the form of manual skimming of free product in a few of the wells. We did receive a letter from our regulatory agency, the Regional Water Quality Control Board, saying that they want enhanced, more aggressive remediation. So we had Converse Consultants, our consultant on this project, come up with a remedial action plan that was accepted. And so now we need approximately $285,000 increase in authorization this year to implement that, in addition to our groundwater monitoring and reporting duties that will continue. This enhanced free recovery is kind of 2 phases. First of all, they have to install 7 new extraction wells down to about 70 feet deep, connect all those together, run piping through some new trenches in the yard, connect those, and then build a small enclosure with a storage tank for periodic removal to an appropriate disposal facility of what they are removing. And they're going to be removing the free product with pneumatic skimmers. The second part of the enhanced remediation is a pilot injection program where they're going to put in 5 injection wells temporarily, push in a chemical that will help the contaminants desorb or remove themselves from the soil in the groundwater area, and then collect those with basically a giant vacuum system and properly remove that material from the site. And if that goes well, next year I'll probably, hopefully, be coming back for some increased funds to increase this pilot injection program to the full-scale site. And that should give us, the regional board, they should be very happy with our efforts. It'll get us closer to case closure to eventually clean up the site. Converse Consultants has also done very well in the business inclusion program. They're pledging 13.35% MBE, 8.36% WBE, 36.34 SBE, 11.95% EBE, and they were actually able to get 5.97% disabled vet, which is kind of hard, at least in our experience, to to achieve, but we're very proud of them for that, plus a little over 3% OBE. So if there aren't any questions, I would appreciate funding for another year for these enhanced recovery system at the Western District Refuse Yard.
Great. Thank you for that report, Mr. Moore.
Mhm.
Any questions, colleagues?
Yes.
I'm going to go Vice President Villegas first and then with you, Dr. Davis.
Good morning. Just a quick question. This will get us to compliance with the regional board?
Yes,
Okay.
Great.
Thank you. That was all.
Thank you. Dr. Davis?
Okay, I wanted to ask, so this company is currently our prime contractor on the project, correct?
That's correct, Doctor.
And what is their current profile in terms of inclusion? I heard the pledge. What is their current profile in terms of the inclusion? Is it the same?
It's pretty close. We have nudged them to improve this, and this is the first time they found the disabled veterans. But overall, they've been one of our better responders on the BIP program.
Have they had what is their current MBE, for example? Their current MBE, not the pledge. I heard the pledge. What is their current presence of MBE?
It's very close. I don't think that was included in the board report this time. Sometimes they say as of some date, but as I recall, it's pretty close in all of these, except for, as I mentioned, the DVBE has improved quite a bit.
So currently, then, generally, you're saying that this pledge that they have given reflects what they've already done, pretty much in the ballpark of. In addition to the fact that they have added some disadvantaged veteran business inclusion as well.
That's correct.
Well, just like you, I definitely, if that be true, want to compliment them for the effort that they have put forth and the consciousness that they have in moving the work forward to expand the opportunities in the work that they have done for WBE. Did they do it in women as well?
Yes,
Okay, for
small.
Wonderful. For women and also for MBEs, and absolutely, I agree with you. The fact that they've been able to get disabled veterans as well. So we definitely want to commend companies that do put forth this extra effort. And then I guess my question to you is the timeline of this project. When do we anticipate this project being completed?
Well, this phase that I'm asking for funds today should take us through most of this year. In other words, I would anticipate later in the fall or early winter.
Okay.
Our contract ends then, so it's kind of convenient. Hopefully, we'll have them on the new contract. Generally, we send them out to all consultants, but if they have a system in the ground already, it sort of gives them an edge. So unless they're way out of line price-wise, we'll probably continue with them. So we'll finish this pilot and the setup with the new wells this year, maybe in the fall. And then next year, I will have to come and ask for further funding for the full-size program, and that should take at least a year. Assuming that the pilot works very well and the regional board agrees, when we come and ask for the new full-scale injection, I anticipate that will take at least a full year.
Well, thank you so very much for the report, and once again, appreciate the effort that this prime contractor has put forth.
I'll tell them again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Agreed. Great. Any other questions, commissioners? Doesn't seem that way. All right. Is there a motion to move this item forward?
So moved.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Dr. Campos, we have a first by Dr. Davis and a second by VP Villegas to move this item forward forthwith. Right, Mr. Moore?
Please.
I figured you would have wanted it right away.
Great.
In fact, I have the, okay.
Thank you both. We'll go ahead and start the voting tabulation, and we'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis,
Davis, aye.
and Commissioner Corzine.
Aye.
This item is approved, and the motion carries unanimous. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mulhern. Have a good rest of the weekend, and we look forward to you completing this project and for you to coming back and tell us how it went.
Okay, thank you much.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, moving right along. This is a nice Friday. We're moving on to agenda item number 3. This is in Council District 14. This is a change order number 137 to Skanska Stacy and Whitbeck 6th Street Viaduct Replacement Project, Task Order Package 5, New Viaduct Project, Federal Project BRLSZD-5006839. Recommending the board to 1, authorize the city engineer to issue change order number 137 for a not to exceed amount of $1,400,000 for the 6th Street Viaduct Replacement Project, Task Order Package number 5, New Viaduct Project to furnish and install materials for the protected bike lanes on the new viaduct. All right. Oh, we have Ms. Shea, we have Natalie, and we have Mr. Fremont from LADOT. Nice to have you here. Welcome. All right. Tell us good morning. Tell us what you guys
Good morning. Just like to brief, we'll have our lead construction manager and the author of the board report, Natalie Moore, presenting.
Jay, you might want to get a little closer to your speaker. You sound a little low.
Yeah, hello. Sorry. Can you guys hear me?
Better. It's better.
Better? Yeah, sorry. This is Zoom, right? Yeah. For some reason, my computer keeps toggling between different mics, between the different interfaces. But so we'll have our lead construction manager and author of the board report, Natalie Moore, presenting.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, Commissioners. Natalie Moore with Bureau of Engineering, 6th Street Viaduct Division. As you mentioned, we're here recommending authority to issue change order number 137 for not to exceed amount of $1.4 million to the viaduct contractor, Skanska Stacy Whitbeck, to furnish and install the materials to provide enhanced protected bike lanes on the bridge. So a little bit of background. After the award of the viaduct project to Skanska Stacy Whitbeck SSW, the Mayor's Office in Council District 14 requested that BOE and Los Angeles Department of Transportation lead the development of a study to determine whether or not the planned bike lanes that we had in our contract plans met the goals and requirements of the city's Mobility Plan 2035, while considering all of the various constraints that the viaduct design itself has. The outcome of the study that we had in 2018 was that the current bike design, which consisted only of painted striping and plastic K71 bollards, did not really provide the recommended level of safety and protection measures for cyclists. So we pursued alternative design concepts, such as concrete curbs or other types of physical barriers to create that protection from cyclists and vehicles on the bridge roadway. However, there are a number of constraints that had to be considered. The biggest one being the weight of any such device that we placed on the bridge. The design of the bridge had already been completed and had accounted for future wearing surface and resurfacing on the bridge. So adding any heavy material such as concrete curbing along the entire length was really going to be prohibited and eat into future maintenance opportunities for the roadway. Additionally, any type of barrier that we would consider could not disrupt the lighting pattern from the roadway lighting that we have on the bridge, as well as the drainage devices that were already designed on the bridge deck itself. So all of these various constraints were considered, and what we ended up deciding on is recycled rubber curbs that would have bollards mounted to them and would be placed in space to allow that physical protection that we were missing from the first design, but also allow the light to pass onto the roadway as it was designed, and also to not impede the drainage. So this design was presented and accepted by the bridge design team, Bureau of Engineering, Mayor's Office, Council District 14, Transportation, and Street Lighting. And I do have Tim Fromell from DOT to answer any questions on the technical side of these devices, if there are any questions at the end. So once we had this design finalized, we issued a preliminary change order to the contract to solicit pricing and their schedule for the work. And what we found was, due to supply chain issues from COVID-19, the supplier indicated that they would be unable to fabricate and deliver these devices by our bridge opening date for June 23rd this year. So we had DOT reach out to the supplier and strong-arm them into getting us a verbal confirmation that they would be able to fabricate and deliver these if we made a purchase immediately. So we did obtain emergency authorization from our liaison Commissioner Caloza in February, and we issued this as an emergency change order to them for a not to exceed amount of $1.4 million. And we are currently in production on these items. A little bit more about the bike lanes. They are going to be installed on both sides of the bridge, so they will be in both directions of travel. This equates to about 7,000 linear feet that they will span. So if you take the 1.4 million, it works to about $200 per linear foot installation cost and material, where material makes up about 75% of this. So it is a pricey item, but we think it's well worth it to provide that safety to the cyclists and pedestrians and vehicles. We don't want to have a situation that wouldn't be safe and meet, the requirements from transportation. So funding for this change order is within our current contingency, so we're not requesting any additional monies. And as I had mentioned, we do have support from Mayor's Office and CD 14, as well as Seismic Governance Committee has also been briefed on this change order. So we have done all of our due diligence, hopefully. So in summary, we are seeking authority to issue this change order for a not to exceed amount of $1.4 million. And I'd be happy to answer any questions or anything technical. I will defer to Tim. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moore, for that. Appreciate all the thorough report. Any questions, colleagues, on this change? Vice President Villegas.
Thank you. And thanks for your thorough report. Appreciate it. Just a quick question. You said that these bollards are rubber. These are similar bollards that we've seen elsewhere throughout LA?
Yeah, so the curbs themselves, these mounted curbs that will be epoxied onto the deck, those are recycled rubber. The bollards are a plastic bollard that gets mounted on top of the curb. So we'll have the curb, which is directly on the roadway, and then every other curb will have a bollard mounted on top of it to increase the height of the physical barrier.
Okay. And it has something like this, just maybe DOT can speak to this. We have these throughout LA, how much safety do they provide? As a bridge, we don't have that much wiggle room. So just if you can speak to the safety aspect, that would be helpful.
Well, here in Los Angeles, this would actually be the first time that we've installed a physical curb for a long distance between a bike lane and a roadway. And it's been something that the cycling community and others have been really demanding, because the plastic bollards alone really don't do a whole lot. They're more of a visual deterrent. This would actually probably physically prevent someone in a lot of cases from actually crossing over and make it difficult for them. So we're actually looking at a similar product that is bolted in, because we can't bolt into the bridge, that they're going to be epoxied. But for other locations, we're looking at a similar product to bolt in on the street elsewhere to provide additional levels of both perceived and actual safety for cyclists.
Thank you. And just one last question. Is there just in the event we have a car that breaks down, is there enough room for them to, get to the shoulder? How does that relate?
Right, so the bike lane also does act as an emergency shoulder for the bridge, so that's why we did space those curbs to allow vehicles to enter into the bike lane as an emergency access, but also the curbs are rollover, so they can be mounted without damage by a vehicle.
Excellent, thank you. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the additional context.
Thank you. Any other, Commissioner Corson?
Thank you. I love this. Great idea. I don't know whose idea it was. This is fantastic. I would love to be able to see this rubber curb somewhere. So if you have it in the building. Once it's done, I would love to see it. I love hearing that it's the first time we're doing it. I would want to hear us finding other bridges or new ways we could use it, maybe with complete streets. I know it sounds pricey, but I mean, this really goes a long way with Vision Zero. And I think it's $200 a linear foot almost sounds, what is it normally? I mean, this seems like, it doesn't sound like it's that expensive if we're talking about saving pedestrian lives. But a question I do have is, what color is it? Will it have reflectors? How much does it weigh? Or how far of a distance can you see it? And I know you said you just let Vice President Villegas know that it's mountable. That's a little concerning for me too, because if they're spaced out, if a car can jump it, we're not really reaching 100% cyclist safety or pedestrian safety. So I would just want to hear a little bit more about what additional features are in mind to enhance that safety. But this is fantastic. I love it. Thank you.
Sure. So I can answer some of the questions, and then Tim, if I miss anything, please feel free. So the colors of the curb will be black. So there will be that high contrast from the concrete deck surface. The bollards themselves that are mounted are white with a high intensity white reflective stripe on the top and an orange reflected stripe at the bottom of the bollard. The curbs themselves are about 130 pounds per curb. So they're pretty substantial, and I think that kind of contributes to the handling and installation costs by our contractor. Plastic option was a little bit lighter and easier to install, but the rubber is what we were able to secure in time for the schedule. So it's a little bit heavier of a product, and I think that helps make it a little bit more durable. Tim, is there anything you want to speak to?
Just in terms of the mountability element, I mean, it was a compromise in the sense that, ideally maybe we could have done a concrete K-rail or a full wall that would prevent anybody from crossing over, but because of the weight and the lighting and all the other limitations, this is the best we can do, and it's pretty good, I would say. It may not be the ideal, but someone would really have to willfully, either jerk the wheel over or if they had an emergency, they would have to, do it. It's really more of an intentional movement if they're going to cross over, not someone who's just kind of distracted and weaves out of the way slightly.
And I will mention for, the bike lane is at the very edge of the roadway. We then have a concrete barrier that separates the roadway from the pedestrian sidewalk. So we do have a second level of protection in case there was an emergency or an accident that also provides protection to the pedestrians on the other side. So I just wanted to mention that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Corson. Okay, I just have and I don't think I heard it. What material is this that you guys are going to be using?
The curbs are recycled rubber and the bollards are plastic.
Okay, got it. Natalie, whenever you get a moment and you have a rendering of what it looks like, can you send it over to Dr. Campos and he'll share it with us? I just, I think we're all trying to visualize it, and it just, we all, I think, have a different in our head what it's going to look like. So if you can just send it over to us, part of it is that we're creating such a beautiful bridge and want to make sure that, this all kind of goes along with it as well. But we also want to make sure we take safety first. But so send it over when you get a chance, please.
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you. All right, colleagues, is there a motion on the table to move this item forward?
Motion.
Okay. So,
Everybody at once.
Everybody, all right. So we have a first by Dr. Davis and a second by Commissioner Corson to move this item forward forthwith. Dr. Campos?
So we'll go ahead and start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Davis, aye.
And Commissioner Corzine.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. All right. Well, let's go do this. Thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of the week, day and weekend. And we look forward to seeing the great work out there. So
Thank you.
thank you all. All right. It's taking us now to item number 4. This is administrative item, or it's a motion actually. Finding to continue teleconference meetings pursuant to Assembly Bill AB 361, recommending the board to 1, adopt the finding and determination in accordance with AB 361, Section 3E3, that while the state of emergency due to the COVID-19 pandemic, as originally proclaimed by the governor on March 4th, 2020, remains active, and or state or local officials have imposed or recommended measures to promote social distancing, this legislative body has reconsidered the circumstances of the state of emergency, and that the state of emergency continues to directly impact the ability of the members to meet safely in person, and or state or local officials continue to impose or recommend measures to promote social distancing. We don't have anybody on this item, so I'll make a motion to move this item forward. Is there a second to my motion?
I'll second it.
Thank you, VP Villegas. And as you know, this is just for us to continue being able to meet virtually. And we do this once a month. With that, Dr. Campos, we have a first by me and a second by Vice President Villegas to move item number 4 forward and forthwith.
Thank you, Madam President. We'll go ahead and start the voting tabulation, and we'll start with you.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis,
Davis, aye.
and Commissioner Corzine.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Now this moves us on to our administrative item, which is in all council districts. This is item number 5. The mayor and city council have approved and authorized the Board of Public Works on behalf of the Bureaus of Street Services, Sanitation, and Contract Administration to execute the proposed amendment for Clean Harbor Environmental Services, Inc. Is there a second to my motion to move this item forward, colleagues?
Second.
Second. All right, there's a first by me, Dr. Campos, and a second by VP Villegas to move item number 5 forward and forthwith.
Thank you, Madam President. We'll go ahead and start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis,
Davis, aye.
and Commissioner Corzine.
Aye.
This motion is adopted. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Moving on to our oral reports of today. This is item number 6, status update on major upcoming street improvement projects from the Bureau of Street Services. And who do we have here today?
We have Mr. Paul Bingaman.
Oh, Mr. Bingaman. Mr. Bingaman, you thought we were going to take longer, huh?
Yeah, definitely. Good morning, board. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
We're doing well. Thank you. So this information is being provided to keep the public informed on upcoming resurfacing projects and to minimize the impact on the community as well as delays to commuters. Streets LA would like to provide you with an update on all major upcoming street improvement projects. There are no major street projects scheduled for the Metro resurfacing region during the week of 4/10/22 through 4/16/22. The following major street projects are scheduled in the Valley resurfacing region during the week of 4/10/22 through 4/16/22. Saturday 4/16/22 and Sunday 4/17/22 at 6:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. we will be cold milling and paving Ventura Boulevard from Winnetka Ave to Premier Hills Road in CD3 Woodland Hills Warner Center Neighborhood Council in the Pavement Preservation Program Fund. Additionally, we will provide an update to our 21-22 Pavement Preservation Program. It is during the week of 4/10/22 through 4/16/22, the Metro region will complete 8 projects for a total of 6.96 lane miles. During the week of 4/10/22 through 4/16/22, the Valley region will complete 9 projects for a total of 6.68 lane miles. Press releases were broadcast and notifications have been issued. Streets LA has coordinated with the council district offices to assist in the outreach to stakeholders, and we have coordinated with the Los Angeles Department of Transportation for traffic control assistance. This information is also available on the Streets LA website. For any additional concerns, you can contact Sherrod Nichols at 213-847-3200.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Very nice. Any questions for Mr. Bingaman, colleagues? Commissioner Corson.
Good morning. Thanks for that. Would it be possible to be included in the press release? There's not via email. I would like the opportunity to share it with the council offices that I'm a liaison to, just to be an extra layer of assistance with that.
Okay, I will notify Mr. Nichols of that, and we'll get to work on it.
Thank you.
Mr. Bingaman, am I not mistaken that you guys also put it on your social media?
Excuse me?
Do you also put this announcement on your social media?
Yes.
Every week, right?
Correct.
Right. Also, okay. Yes. I think, Mr. Corson, you can also get it. Get like the street. They have a really nice diagram that shows the street that's going to be paved. But it definitely should be included also part of the kind of the regular announcements. All right, Mr. Bingaman, we're almost letting you go. We're hanging on there from you. All right. Any other questions for Mr. Bingaman? Nope. Giving none. You are off the hook and ready to have a good weekend.
All right. Thank you very much, you guys. Appreciate it.
Good to see you. See you next Friday.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. Takes us now along to item number 7. This is La Gloria relocation status update from the Bureau of Engineering. Mr. Jimenez, can't believe it's been a month already. 2 months now from the big showdown.
I'm sorry, you're having fun.
Yeah, we're all having fun. How are you doing, Mr. Jimenez?
Fine, thank you.
Good. We're ready to hear your update.
Thank you. Udi Jimenez, Chief Real Estate Officer for the Bureau of Engineering. And I'm happy to report that we've made some progress with the relocation of La Gloria. And these are some of the activities that have taken place in the last month since we last reported to the board. On February 28th, La Gloria entered into a contract with architect Simon Glover to provide design services for building improvements at the replacement site, which is on First Street. John Berry and Associates, La Gloria's relocation management consultant, performed the following tasks last month. A number of on-site visits with the subcontractors, weekly meetings and conferences with the owner and the subconsultants, vendor communication and coordination, layout creation and reviews, project schedule creation and management, environmental engineer engaged, and sought and received updated bids from Simon Glover, architect, TUV equipment certification, and York, which is the environmental consultant. In order to pay for these subconsultants, we requested a payment for $122,947. That check was processed and has been mailed to La Gloria in order for La Gloria to be able to continue to contract with the approved consultant. The schedule remains more or less what it was last month. We're looking to complete the project in February of 2023. And the activities that are planned for next month is the actual commencement of the architectural design, to finalize the layout of the design, where the machines are going to go, etc., and conduct electric testing of the equipment to make sure that appropriate electrical systems are put in place in order to receive the machines that are going to be relocated, and perform environmental engineering, including preparation of AQMD, stormwater, and wastewater permits. And that concludes my report. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Jimenez. Colleagues, I see a hand up by Vice President Villegas, but go ahead.
Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Jimenez, for your report. I don't have any questions. I just appreciate all the hard work by the Bureau and by the representatives from La Gloria to really stick to the agreement, to be able to lay this out and really work together. It's really imperative that the work continue, and I'm impressed. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President. Any other questions, colleagues? Nope. Yeah, I do. Again, Mr. Jimenez, my question from last time was, the Gloria informed about today's meeting?
Yes, so we sent an email earlier this week, and no response. But we let them know that the hearing was going to be held, and we continue to do that. We have regular meetings, you know, with the consultant, but we didn't get a response.
Okay. Okay, I just want to...
We will continue to invite them.
Yes, please. I just want to make sure that they're always aware that they have a platform here and they need to also speak at any time.
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Jimenez. Again, I echo my colleagues' sentiments. Thank you for all your work that you're doing around this, and it looks like we have a timeline in place that we continue to move this along. So appreciate all that work from you and from your team. All right. Other than that, anything else from Mr. Jimenez for La Gloria? Doesn't sound that way. Mr. Jimenez, we look forward to next month's update and look forward to always working with you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Jimenez, we get to see you now monthly, which is nice.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend, everybody.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Thank you for your report. Bye-bye. All right, colleagues, that seems to be the end of today's agenda items. Dr. Campos, have we cleared the desk?
Yes, you have.
Great, thank you. So with that, colleagues, we are officially adjourned. We'll take a 5-minute break if that, and then we'll come back and have a management meeting, a short management meeting.
Thank you.